going? It's That Nerd Ryan here. Welcome to the book review of Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars. This book is very interesting for me. I got a lot of mixed feelings about it. We'll get into why in like a couple minutes. But yeah, I mean, it is the story of what happens basically between Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. We follow the Mantis crew being Cal, Marin, Seer, and Grease, along with two other characters that were introduced. We get to see him fight against the fifth brother, who is actually like the main villain of the book, basically, for what it's worth. But yeah, and it's a long yet a short read at the same time. There's only 19 chapters in this book, but some chapters go up to 20 pages. So yeah, I never really talked about that before in a review, but yeah, this book was paced like that, and the reason why I bring that up is because this book does have a strange pacing. The climax of the book honestly happens like 4 chapters before the end, and then we get another climax at the second to last chapter, and just other stuff. So I was trying to figure out why this book felt so weird, and then I was watching somebody review Call of Duty Vanguard, since I just picked up the game for cheap, and realized why it was weird. This book was written by the same person that wrote Call of Duty Vanguard and My Little Pony. I'm not knocking it, or anything like that. I just feel like I could understand why the story felt weird. But I did still like what happened in the book. I liked how, like, character interactions, I liked getting into each character's mind. The only issue is I did feel that there was bare minimum character development, like actual character development, for characters other than Marin. I felt like this was more Marin's story than Cal's, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it not being Cal's story, but I do feel that like Cal's character development in this was very minimal. Seer, not that much either. Grease had a physical development, but nothing else. And Marin had the most development from, but her development literally kind of went like this. So, like, at the end of the book, it was, okay, now she's got that. Which I found very, like, whiplashy, but yeah. We also find out more information about the fifth brother. And that was one complaint I had from, like, not even opening the book. And I do still kind of agree with it. I wish we got a more disposable Inquisitor that we didn't know about. Like, maybe we could have gotten the fourth sister instead of the fifth brother, who didn't really do much in Obi-Wan, and we wouldn't know what her status is going forward before Rebels. The fifth brother shows up in both Rebels and Obi-Wan, so we'd know that this taking place before Rebels, the fifth brother would show up, or survive. They do try to keep it, like, ambiguous at the end if he did or didn't, but knowing Rebels and stuff like that, you know that the fifth brother still survives. So yeah, I feel like maybe the fourth sister would have been a better villain to this, just because you're not going to know if she comes out alive or not. You kind of know with this book that basically all but 2 characters are definitely coming out alive. No main character in this does die. I did feel like maybe one of the 2 that we wouldn't know about would. But other than that, it, like, something does happen in the book, which we'll talk about in a minute, that I was kind of shocked by because I haven't played Jedi Survivor yet. But other than that, like, nothing really, really big happens. I don't want to say the book's skippable if you're just a Fallen Order and Survivor fan. I think it's kind of, with one part, definitely necessary, but kind of nice to see the other characters and everything. So, with talking like that, let's get into the story. So I know I already spoiled something by saying nobody dies, but we'll get into it now. So the Mantis crew is trying to stop the Hoxian brood from the first game from following them around, so they go on a mission to basically destroy one of their bases. In doing so, they realize that the Hoxian are working with or for the Empire, or about to strike a deal for it, and they break it up. Merrin and Cal start fighting them, and then they go to get away, where Merrin runs into a random stormtrooper that wants to defect. After breaking away, Seer takes that person on. Their name is Fret. Technically, they aren't a stormtrooper, they're an analyst. And she is trying to get out of the Empire to help basically find this item called the Shroud, which makes anybody invisible to any type of thing. It's kind of like the Clean Slate from Dark Knight Rises. And in a sense, I kind of, but not really. But yeah, so they go and try to accept a mission, which they find in a prison, where they head there to get the schematics for the Shroud. It ends up being a living person. During this time, Fret and Merrin start a relationship, and during this time, or when they go to the prison, they find where the schematics are. It ends up being a living person, being Fret's ex-girlfriend. So now there's a love triangle, but not a lot of time lasts. Also, I would say in this, Fret does lie a lot in this. She's very untrustworthy, but they still accept her as is. And the other character is Irie, who is the person that designed the Shroud, aka Fret's ex-girlfriend. She also is force sensitive. During this time, the fifth brother shows up and starts fighting Cal. Cal makes sure Merrin and everybody gets away until Seer comes back down to fight the fifth brother. Cal gets knocked out. Seer starts using a little bit of dark side, then realizes not to, and starts trying to do it the most Jedi way and trying to turn the fifth brother back to the light side. At that, Grease shows up in a distraction. The fifth brother is freed and cuts off one of Grease's arms, and then is sent away by Seer. That was the big shock that, I was like, oh wow, they actually did hurt a character in this. The team almost falls apart after that. Then they come up with a plan to get the person that sent them on the mission off their tail by not turning in Irie, but doing something else, which is building a fake version of the Shroud, giving it to him, and then leaving. Plan goes sideways. The guy was actually working with the Hoxian brood and the Empire, so Cal and Merrin stop everybody in the room. Fret gets shot with some body armor on, so she ends up being fine, but she's down for the count in the fight. The fifth brother shows up, and Merrin and Cal fight him together. And in this, Irie, who's a tech wizard, builds a bomb out of the fake Shroud for Cal to throw at the fifth brother, which he does. Everybody blacks out. But the fifth brother gets away. They said that he was on fire, but he obviously gets away because he's in Rebels. Again, it would be cool if the open-ended would have been better if it was the fourth sister or another Inquisitor that we never heard of. Anyway, so turns out that everybody survived. Fret and Irie are going to go off on their own, and the crew's tighter than ever. So like I said, it's a very fast-paced story, weirdly paced as well, and it does feel like nothing really big happens besides Grease getting his arm cut off. And yeah, I did feel too that a lot of inner monologues of characters were very repetitive. So for example, they're Merrin probably about, mind you, 19 chapters, probably about 30 times states how much she misses Dathomir and hates the Empire and the Separatists. And, like, literally anytime you get her in her mind, that's all you hear about. So it's like, it would be kind of cool to, you know, have seen, like, a different side of Merrin. We do get to see a different side of her, but, like, literally, Merrin is a complex character. She has been since she's been introduced in Fallen Order. And it's sad to kind of see her be, like, a 3-note character instead of, like, this complex character. And that's, like, I mean, I get, because I am trying to write myself, I do get that, like, characters do have, like, a focal point that's their main goal and everything. But this book really leans into one main goal of each character. And it makes sense that there's a point where they almost break up because everybody only cares about one thing. And the truth is, they don't all just care about one thing. But the book perceives it as, like, oh yeah, I hate the Empire. Oh, well, I want to avenge myself, the Jedi Order. Well, I want to rebuild the Jedi Order. I don't care, I want to fly my ship. And literally every time you get a paragraph that's that person's perspective, or third-person perspective, that is literally all it talks about. Like I said, I do find that very jarring because it's like these characters are a lot more depth than they actually are. But yeah, so with that, I'm going to wrap up this review. Next is going to be the High Republic Convergence. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I was going to go for a 7, but talking about, like, the character development does really hurt it. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me out on my social media down below. It's That Nerd Ryan.